what was the situation where your record label they wanted to scrap your whole album and they wanted you to rap like Ja Rule?
Um, no, at the time when when the Tupac was going on, and a lot of these labels were basically trying to back away from the the West Coast element of music. Um, we had Ice-T who put out Cop Killer, and with all the negativity that West Coast artists were getting, as far as, you know, you had, Dre and Easy Fallout, Cube, everybody was beefing. I had a beef with Quick. Everybody was beefing in LA. And our beef kind of took a different toll on motherfuckers because, like I said again, the gang influence was heavy with a lot of artists on the West Coast because they came up out of those neighborhoods. Um, so at the time, labels were trying to distance themselves from our kind of music. Uh, Interscope and Warner had decided we're not gonna distribute no more Death Row. Um, Ice-T, the Cop Killer record got pulled. Um, in the midst of this, I had a production deal over at Big Beat Atlantic, and I was about to leave my deal at Sony. And so when I was getting ready to go over to Atlantic, because I had signed a 9-album production deal, 3 albums for me and 6 albums from 2 other artists. When I tried to go in and collect the budget to get started, they didn't want to release the budget. Um, so when I wanted to start working on my next solo record, they basically didn't want me handling any of the production or any of the production done by any of the producers I had been working with on my previous records. So they tried to start bringing in all these other producers, which I won't name, but basically they want to change my sound to the pop the bottle sound. Everything back then was, um, sing songy. The Ja Rule era was heavy. Fat Joe and them, Ja Rule and them, everything was sing songy on the radio. So basically, they wanted my sound to turn to that. And I refused. So they wouldn't honor the production deal. So basically, everything fell through. And that's when I started coaching football. Um, it wasn't my element, and I understand their pushback from the table because they frowned upon our type of music. Um, we dealt with situations differently on the West Coast. Not to say that there wasn't hard times, in places like New York and, Chicago, Atlanta, Florida, wherever. But it seemed like with the gang element, it kind of pushed it to a different uh level. Like, these niggas is crazy. Like, ain't no talking to them. Um, they want to run up in your record label and break up everything, and they go on tour and they be getting shot and fighting with motherfuckers. So they wanted to push back from the table of all the what they called negative music. Uh, Me being a dude who was bred upon, living in the neighborhood and dealing with issues on that scale, um, I didn't want to disappoint my fans and my true fan base by going to songs like, you know, being in the club and popping bottles of Cristal and, pulling up in Rolls Royces, and everything was about platinum and platinum and platinum, and it wasn't my element. Even when I tried, it just wasn't me, because I had to respect where I came from. So I just backed away from the table. We came to an agreement. They killed the deal. I walked away with the table with a little compensation. And that's when I just put music on pause and decided, to do regular shit. Raise a family, participate in school events. Like I said, I started coaching my son football for 14 years. So sometimes you just have to reevaluate, instead of me going, well, that. This is what's making the money now. Everybody listening to Ja Rule, or they listening to Fat Joe, or they listening to this or that or whatever. I said, that. I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to take a pause and just say, it. Hey, if it's meant to come around, and, I never got into music to be a certain status. Um, I got into music because I wanted to tell stories of where I was from. So when you're able to take the oh, I need to get a check and I need to get some money, and sometimes you might have to go back to the drawing board of where you came from, but that was easy for me. And so in the meantime, I was able to do like just live normal, take out the trash, say what's up to the neighbors when I come outside, just regular man. Sometimes you have to push back from the table and you have to see what's more important. You get me?